Hello, hello, hello. Hang on, everybody. How is everybody? I popped back. Here I am. I'm here. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. So, everybody get in here. Let's look at what's going on today. Ooh, look at that. I got sticky uppy hair. Okay. For those who are just joining me for the first time, my name is Mary Jane Tracy, psychic medium, spiritual love of life coach, and just dabbler into the world at large. Just, wondering what's going on with everything. There's a lot. There's a lot that's going. It's down, Edward. Yeah, there's a lot that's going on. So let me close my door because now things are going to get loud. Edward. So, sorry, family. Doing lives. Then family decides to get up and be dicks. So, what can I say? The sun has gone into Pisces, and it is actually, with the sun in Pisces, it's actually kind of nice. It kind of there's a releasing that's coming in with this. There's also a part of our conscious and unconscious energy. This is very much of a showering and energy coming into showering. The Jupiter and Neptune, this conjunction, hasn't been there since 1856. So there's a lot of interesting energy that's coming in with that. And it feels like, sometimes it's going to feel like it won't work out. So I feel like people can get lost with this energy and with the sun going in Pisces, and people can feel unbalanced, not grounded. But there's also the other aspect of it, that there's a cleansing and a washing of it that's coming in, and a cleansing and a washing of the energies that are coming forth. And we have to really look at things like there's this bigger energy that's going on. So the biggest things to look at are not, let's, trying to push that aside and come into here. So to coming into our heart center of our dreams, of what we want to bring forward for ourselves, what we want to create within our lives. And right now, I know there's a lot of feeling of hopelessness, in and around the world, and especially here. And this energy of feeling hopeless, of feeling maybe abandonment, coming in with this. And with this Neptune energy, especially for the next 30 days, we have this energy of huge cleansing coming forth. There is a push of forwardness that is there as well. And it is not for us to really, it's not a time of slacking off. It's a time to really really work within our energies and our dreams of what we want to put forward. And I've had a lot of people feeling, oh my God, I feel like there's just too much and there's just all of this. The thing is, and I've been saying this for a while, there's certain things that are at play that we have no control over. I don't have any control over what the president of the United States says, nor the prime minister, but I do have control over what I say, what I think, and how I feel. I have control over that. I have control over my intuition, and really dropping into my knowingness and trusting me, trusting where I need to set forth on, what I need to be doing. This is the ultimate of energies, of opening of doors, of the divine coming in and showing you where this is where we need to be going. I remember doing a live, and I was talking about, massive people all lining up, going along with everybody else. But there were roads that were going off, that detours of saying, here, you can go here, you can go here, you can go here. Not a lot of people took those detours. Now, I know there's a lot of frustration out there as well. Not everybody agreed with what was going on and with what was happening. And there is many, that I have noticed that are just wanting to go back to whatever normal was normal. The thing is, normal is not normal. It's not going back. That it's done. This is setting into a new life, a new way of being. And I know a lot of people are going to forget what happened the last 3 weeks or what was going on. They're going to try and ignore it so that they don't have to pay attention. That's very human. That's a very human thing to do. We are in a time of change and transition. And I think I mentioned also to somebody was asking me, and I'm like, do you think they're actually going to vote on this? When it came to voting on the Emergency Act? No. No. I didn't feel like there would be a vote on it. I just like, no. Not things are going to be just really crazy over the next 30 days. There's going to be a lot of taking control of. Remember, when a government oversteps bounds or is able to gather power, do you think it wants to give it back? And that's the thing. There's ways of doing things, there's ways of grouping and coming back together to do things. And that's the whole thing, is that if you want to change things, you got to go on the inside. That's one of the things I was taught when I was with my dad being in politics, is that you got to change things, you got to go on the inside. But sometimes going on the inside, you got to be careful you don't get as corrupt as they are. The corruption is huge, and it's being exposed. But the thing is that if you're not following their narrative, they don't, if you're following their narrative, you're okay. You're not going to be fined or anything. It's like that crazy guy who came out on TikTok, on a TikTok live, saying that he hacked Gift Send Go, and he hacked all these other places because he wasn't for the truckers. Nothing I heard was happening to him, nor arrests. When this act, and this is this is so in correlation. It all goes back to the Queen and to what's going on and what's happening in the rest of the world. The truckers were a trigger for things to unfold. That's what it was. It was part of the Trigger Act. And going back to the monarch. Now, a few people ask me, well, why isn't why is UK lifting all their mandates? Where does the Queen live? Right? She lives in the UK. They have other things that are going on, and other problems and issues that are going on right now in the UK, from food shortages to heating problems and that are happening right now. Now, but when it came to the mandates, because it was on in the UK, it was easier to lift those. Now, when it comes to Canada and Australia, they want to see how far they can push. Remember, in New Zealand, Australia, and Canada all have set up the camps, and the camps being set up. And the other part that people have to realize is that being a part of the Commonwealth, we're not really a free country to begin with. You are ruled by the monarch. That's why in 1776, they came together and wrote a Declaration of Independence to separate from Britain, to make a republic. Why? Because they wanted to create something that people could own. They could own their land, they could own their businesses, they could own their stuff. When you're under a commonwealth, you don't own actually your land. Everything under the monarch, when they come in, they own it all. Like they take over. That's what they do. They conquer, right? Um, and I know that's a big pill to swallow, and a lot of people have issues with it. And this is where when people, that's one. So I'll let you guys digest that one. The other part too is like when people are looking at what was going on there, not everybody was on board with Ottawa. Okay, that's fine. They felt they were being victim, things were happening to them. They couldn't get to their work or what have you. Other problems were going on. And it didn't help that they had last Thursday kind of like a rave and hot tubs and everything out there um, underneath Trudeau's place. That wasn't really a smart move. And when you look at it, it's great that they're going out there, they're having music, they're blasting, but there's a way of doing things. And this is, I'm just looking at it astrologically. I'm looking at this in a non-political way. And it's like, okay, yes, you can come together, peaceful, harmony, and all of that. But there's ways of doing things. There's a way of creating and coming together. And this is when they have to regroup. So I know there was a call that to get for the truckers to leave. So there was a call sent out that to have all the truckers leave, who for everybody to leave Ottawa at this time. The thing is that we don't want anybody hurt. Now this is a precursor to World War II. And even with what's going on with the Queen and her already stating that Charles will be the next in line. The other question that I've had asked is why can't they just throw out Justin? Well, they can't. One, he was elected. This is parliamentary, somewhat democratic government, and he has an opposition that's speaking up. Nobody in his caucus has thrown him out. He still has his caucus. They're still backing him. So they're not going to be throwing him out. If his caucus decide to make changes and decide to throw him out, then they can do something. But that's part of how things were set up. Now, the other part and I looked at his chart and then I was listening to somebody else who was doing his chart, which gives me kind of like a different viewpoint of his chart. And he used the progressed chart for Justin. Justin is he's got a lot of secrets. A lot of secrets are there. And a lot is going to be divulged, but it's not going to be divulged for about another 10 months. So things for him between now and next year, and I think I've already said that, for Canada to make a new change, a new road, won't be happening till next year, till the beginning of January, February of 2023. Right now, there is a lot, that's going on within his chart. There's a lot going on in his sixth house, which has to do with issues with health issues that could be coming in. So I don't think things are looking that good for him just by looking at his chart. And with his Saturn on his progressed moon, and it's going to stop on his progressed sun. So he's just coming off a new moon there in his progress chart, and it's this is going to be also something coming up because Saturn's going to be sitting there for May and June. So something is going to, and I already said something crazy is going to happen in May and June of this year. So this is really bringing in, some changes. And I think with all the countries, there's some weird shit that could happen. I mean, who knows? Maybe Russia will invade Canada, or for human rights. So because Canada is very heavily involved in China. I don't know. I just threw that one out. But the future leaders of the Economic Forum, I mean, they're looking at, some of the people that we're following may fall away, but they're going to have new pawns that are going to come in. They're just going to have a different meat suit that they'll have on, but there's going to be replacements there. So what does this all mean with the energies that are coming in for us? We're in this craziness for a while. We're in this craziness of upheaval, uh, chaos, destruction. We're in this. We're in this of restructuring our society, restructuring our world. In 2020, I said that travel is going to get crazy and that it's going to be going bye-bye. And I know a lot of people have gone traveling and gone places, but international travel is even going to get harder in the next while. So we're going to see things like that coming about. Again, what does this mean? This means that, yeah, there's that craziness coming in. I got to really regroup my own self. I got to really focus on what I need to create a more harmonious energy around me, creating the connections I need to have within my community and what those connections are within the community and within my community. And with all of this, with, energies that are coming in, is that when we can clear out this old energy, we got to step into a new way of looking at things in order for us to grab hold of this magical place and trusting in that God has the reins. We can't be looking at the same thing with the same energy, with the same way. We have to really take a step back and really realign ourselves in a newness. And in doing that again comes within our community and who you're aligning with and how you're regrouping with your alignment. There is there's going to be a lot more that's going to be unfolding with all of this, and we're going to be seeing some crazy stuff in. I mean, I know he mentioned, bank accounts have already been frozen. There was just one woman who owned a little ice cream shop or something, and her everything was frozen. Her bank account, everything was frozen because she donated to the truckers. And I've said this is like, you got to be careful on what you do and what you sign. Right? Because when you step out, remember, it's not just you when you are stepping out. You got to look at who's around you and how that falls to other people. And you have to be aware of that. And in being aware of that, then you can take 100% responsibility for what you're doing. But you really have to understand, like when I saw the GoFundMe freeze and they went to Give Send Go, and I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, something's going to happen to that. Do you think that just because they stopped this one, do you think they're not going to stop that one? They're not going to implement something. Now with this emergency act, they can freeze American accounts that have donated to a Canadian terrorist group. That's what they're claiming this is. Not saying it is, but that's what is being claimed. This is what can happen. So this is bringing in awareness. This is why we get very tunnel vision and we got very teary-eyed. It was very emotional and we got into it. But remember, when you get a whole group going in one direction, you got to take a step back and ask, okay, what is the total agenda? I just heard one say that she had her agenda, but there were ulterior agendas that were within that one. And you started hearing, oust Trudeau, get Trudeau out. When you start hearing things like that, of course the government's going to think this is an insurrection. Even as peaceful as you're being out there, This is the thoughts that the government is going to have. This is where it's like, okay, very similar to what happened in another country many years ago and how things were aligning. The other part, in 1933, people had to turn over their gold and silver to the government. Right now, they're asking and they're going to be putting fines on things to do with crypto. Cryptocurrency is going to be coming in as a currency. We're going to see many different currencies come in, but it's the government will want to have some sort of control over it. So they will be putting their stamp on it in some way or some format. And that's why they will be looking at anybody who has any certain wallets or any with any crypto that you're going to see some crazy things happen, and they're going to ask for things to come over because there's no more stimulus. There's no more stimulus, there's no more CERB. There isn't any of those checks coming out. So the government is going to be needing money, both in the United States and in Canada, because they have overextended themselves to a point that the economy is going to come in and it's going to fall out. It's going to fall out. Very similar to what it did in the 30s. It's going to fall out. Why do they want it to fall out? Because they want to create a whole new economy. They want to bring in a new form of currency, just like they did in the 30s. So a new currency, and that's with Uranus and Taurus, a new currency, a new way of looking at things is going to be coming forward. And we are going to be seeing things like that, because right now they're even saying to Americans who donated to Canada, your accounts can be frozen, and they're calling them pro-Trumpers. So with bank and with the banks that are closing at this time in the United States, a lot of banks are closing. One day they're there, one day they're not. We're going to be seeing the same thing here in Canada. We're going to be seeing the banks close because they want to implement a new currency, a central bank, so that you go and you do your deposit there in the central bank and they give you a note of some kind. All right? But then they can regulate that currency that is there. Not everybody wants to hear this stuff because it's like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, mama's just doing her radicalness and she's just being all negative. This is coming into the awareness. When we come into the awareness, we can make the changes. We can really start to align ourselves where we need to be aligned. I'm learning more about economy and the economic system. I'm watching different people. I'm joining different groups to learn about that. Why? So I have a better understanding and leverage for myself and my family. I'm not a wizard at it, but I'm really getting to be a better understanding of it. And when you do that, then you can make better judgment calls. If you want to stand around with blinders on and not pay attention, you can pay attention to what's going on, but you can come into your own energy of what you want to create. What does that look like? What does that feel like when you are able to stand up and create this? This is going to give you the power and the strength. And that's going to be very, very important. We're going to see a lot of borders starting to change. We're going to see a lot of things starting to maneuver in ways that we never thought they would maneuver. Again, this comes back to our grassroots where we're connected to. The next is shortages, and I'm really going to warn you guys on shortages again. Please, 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 please. Look at who you can connect with and how you can connect with. Is there exchanges that you can make with people? Is there somebody that you could talk to and maybe have a your own little grow up? And I mean a grow up with vegetables. You can have your other grow up if you want. But this is where this is where you got to look at. Hey, journey to be blessed be. This is what we have to look at. This is coming into our light. This is coming into our power. because it's there for us in amongst things that are going on. The other part is that what else is there? There's so much here that I was looking into that was really crazy and things. Um yeah, with the camps. Oh, the other part. Um the government always has a way of doing things and getting things done. They have bought over a dozen heavy hauler tow trucks with Canadian money, just to say it. So even though the army may not want to step in or the army may not want to do anything, if the Prime Minister of Canada comes in and tells them this is where you're being deployed, and he tells his generals that, they have to obey. They can't stand down. It's treason. So that's the other part too, people. Wake up. Wake up. Take a look at what's going on. And when you wake up and you take a look at what's going on, there's ways of dealing with this. There's ways of creating newness. Look into Valley Forge. Valley Forge, the truth is that they didn't, the thing is with Valley Forge is that they had a shortage, and the men were not trained for this. The thing is that when we look at what just happened, they weren't trained for any of this. It was a bunch of people coming together. They had an idea. Yes, they had their generals, we'll call them their generals, that might have had an idea of what to do here, but they have to reformulate. They have to relook at how to do this. And that's the same way with the natives and with other movements that need to have changes in the world. But we're going to go back to what's going on with Russia and with Ukraine. This all is going to come down to the oil and gas industry, because Russia owns a lot. They have control over a lot of the lines that go into different parts of the UK or different parts of Europe that supply them with oil and gas and their pipelines. So my other thing is, who else has a lot of oil and gas? Saudi Arabia. And who likes oil and gas? Even though they want to go to electric, still need oil and gas. United States. Just saying. So we got a lot that's going on, a lot of energy that's coming in. Another, it's it isn't just, it's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of craziness that's going on, but it's a time of regrouping for our own selves and our own spiritual selves, and coming back and reformulating the direction of where we want to go and what we want to do. And when we start doing that, we are going to start seeing things with different eyes, with different eyes. So, be objective with what you are wanting to do. Have discernment. I'm going to pull out some cards here and do a reading for us. This is a reading for everybody, a reading for the collective here. So I didn't do my tarot reading this morning. Oh, I got two. Oh, okay. So we had a jumper card, and the jumper card is the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups is coming in and being a jumper card. So I feel like she's going to be the energy of what we need to look at. And with the Queen coming in, that's really about our emotions, how we're dealing with our emotions and our intuition. What is that direction? Like she's looking very mindfully down into her cup and looking into it, and what direction do I need to go into? So really coming into the intuitive, into our heart center with that, and with that energy. And with that is, where are you tied up? So there's the 8 of Swords coming in. Where are you tied up? Where are you tied up in your life? Because when the Eight of Swords comes in, there is where we're tied up. We can move forward, but we don't want to. Anytime, like the straps are loose, you can go forward. You can take the blinders off. Things are done. It's time to move forward. It's time to take a new way of looking at things. So you have to really go into your intuition. You really have to go into your gut. We're in Pisces. Pisces is not mental energy. It is Pisces is all over the place, right? So it needs some direction, but it really needs to trust in its intuition and the direction that it wants to go into. So, how can I put aside some time that is just for me? So, looking at some time for me. Remember to be gentle with your heart because you can get hurt very easily right now. People are very sensitive. People are unnerving right now. So, look at some places where, okay, this is where I need to really regather myself because things are ending. The way that you think your life is, it's ending. There's a whole new world entering into this world. There's a whole new death is coming, or death is here, but I think death is coming. Death is coming, and it's for us to take the blinders off to see it, to see that there's a whole new way of looking at the world around us and seeing that and trusting our intuition and what's going on. Please not now. I'm in the middle of a reading. Please close the door now.
Can you put a 50-minute timer on?
Could you please go? And that was my son. And then we got the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is new information coming in, and having that new information coming in as things are breaking away, trusting in that new information, trusting in what's being coming forth. And it's new. It's innovative. It's air. But that new information may not come in as quickly as we want to it. So we really have to trust in that guidance. The guidance that we are being led by our intuition, and through that something new will happen. There's a newness that's coming in, and that newness, the star comes out after the Tower. So when the star comes in, that we know that something new is going to be happening on the horizon. Am I ready to celebrate and honor the light that surrounds me? Are you ready to celebrate yourself? Are you ready to stand in your power and your glory of who you are? This is very important. This is a gentle magic from this star because the Tower is coming down. The Tower is dismantling. The Death card is coming in. So as the Tower comes in, this is for us to listen to our inner voice of inspiration. Inner voice of inspiration that is coming in. When it speaks with our heart, it lifts our heart into a direction so we can take down the bounds, the bonding that surrounds us. Even though that we don't want things, the death to come in, even though we don't want the Tower to come down, we got to trust in the newness that's going to be happening and arising around us. And this is where we need to bask in the expansive energy that we connect with. Who are we connecting with? Who's that energy that we are coming in with? And are they uplifting me or are they holding me back? That is what you got to look at. So if you are being uplifted, then you go with that, because each made, as you know, we're each made of this beautiful stardust. We're all connected in some way. Every one of us on this earth, we're all connected. And we have to stand in that and understanding that we are all connected. The good, the bad, and the ugly, all parts of those things that we see are a part of us in some way. We know that, but we don't want to face that because we don't like to face death. We don't like to face that unknown. We don't want to do that because no, I only want the good stuff. I only want the sweet chocolate and the good wine. I don't want to have to look at things that are bad and ugly. Death is coming and saying you have to look at it in order for you to take the bounds off. If you don't look at it, then things are going to get shitty. And how much of the percentage of population is not looking at that? A big portion. And in doing that, in stepping into that, there's fruitfulness, there's greatness that's going to come in, but it's going to take us some time to get there. So we have to trust in that. We got to trust in that connection with our heart and with our alignment. And when we do that, and trusting in the new information that comes in, and it's going to come in ways that we never thought it would. And in that, we can start to rebuild for something new. But it's going to take us some time to get there. We're not there yet. Right now, we're in a place of, okay, for the next 30 days, we have that sun, that Piscean energy that's there. And it can be very dreamy, it can be very elusive, it can be very beautiful, but there's that of this collective consciousness of light that's coming in, that's sparking the Holy Trinity within us, that is washing us within the Holy Spirit and the holy water, coming down, cleansing us so that we can walk anew and shine in our dignity and our grace and our beauty and our joy. But we have to accept truth. If we're not accepting truth, if we're not accepting that, then we are going to find that there's going to be a demise and that we are going to fall in some way, in somewhere, some manner. So we have to trust in our intuition and taking the steps with new, fresh eyes and being open to where the divine is guiding us in amongst the tyranny, in amongst the dismantlement. But there is newness that's going to come in, but it's going to take us a battle to get there. It's going to take us a revolution to get there. And not a lot of people want to hear that, see that, or believe it. They want to go back to their normal lives, just driving their car, just everything's going to be fine. But you know what? When you drive up to the pump and you find that there's no gas, you go to the grocery store and there's no food, what are you going to do then? It's an awakening, a huge awakening. Some people think I'm crazy, I'm nuts, it doesn't make any sense. This cannot happen. Really? I predicted the pandemic. I told you about travel, told you about things that are happening with shelving. Now I'm going to tell you about the economy. The economy is going to crash. The bottom's going to fall out, and it's going to be the worst depression that we've seen. But this is where community can come together, and we can survive, and we can thrive, and we can blossom in such beautiful new ways and innovative ways. It's there for us. We just have to embrace it. Have a blessed day. Have a wonderful long weekend. And I will be on tomorrow for the weekend report. So have a blessed one. And may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say, in all that you be, and all that you do. Have a blessed one, everybody. Bye-bye.